Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the Kreeger cast. I'm your host, Patrick Kreeger, and today I'm joined once again
by King Dick. Steven.
by Steven. Well, we're off to the races with making sure you know that this content is not child friendly, as that's still currently drama going on YouTube.
His name is the character in the movie we watched is King Richard.
This is true. Anyway, we watched another film today. We watched the second in the Princess.
You already messed it up. We watched Christmas Prince
first.
Yes, and then we watched, which I'm trying to get to today, just now. I should watch the same day. A Christmas Prince, the Royal Wedding.
Yes,
the second in the trilogy so far. Trilogy of Prince movies, Christmas Prince movies on Netflix.
It is actually a little bit hard. We were doing some light Googling during the film, and Googling the Christmas Prince gets a lot of pictures of princes at Christmas.
Yeah. You did that. I didn't do that, but cool.
Well, I was trying to figure out, he wears these medals throughout the film, and for those of you who are nitpickers will note that he's wearing the same medals as he wore in the last film, except his neck device has been upgraded, or I assume upgraded, presumably hasn't been demoted, from a red neck device to a white neck device.
Yeah. It's a symbolic, important thing.
So why don't you read the back of the box?
Oh, yes.
Yes. You chose the film, you read the back of the box.
Yeah, I just forgot to pull that up, so... Little out of sorts. I apologize. Here we go. A year after Amber helped Richard, Dick, secure the crown, the two are set to tie the knot in a royal Christmas wedding. But their plans are jeopardized when Amber finds herself second-guessing whether or not she's cut out to be queen. 5.2 on IMDb.
Okay, so why so poorly rated? If you're going into a Christmas film,
sure.
Don't watch.
Watch, but you need to watch the first Christmas Prince movie.
Yes, in order. They're sequential.
Yes, if you just turn just this one on, you're gonna be lost.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of pieces at play. A lot of things are moving. There's callbacks and references to the first one.
The whole film is a callback or a reference.
Kind of, yeah. You need to. It follows the same structure for sure, which you pointed out during reviewing. It's very similar in that makeup, but it's got a lot of key differences that I think go in. And one of those things is, I would say, the first Christmas Prince followed the classic form, like literary theme of man versus man. Realistically, it was just these antagonists in this whole thing, and there's the love story thing is another thing. But this one is man versus society, the classic postmodernist theme. Amber is, they say it in the thing that she's struggling whether or not she should be queen, which is kind of true, but honestly, that's not even the main problem. It's not about whether or not she wants to be queen. It's whether or not the duties, the protocol, which they say many times in this movie, of the queen and of the royal family, that these traditions that are weighing on her, if she wants to partake in that, and as we see for the course of the movie, how far she should push back against that. This is really pushing the boundaries of society and about coming together as a unit, as a family. It's about family. And that's what makes it so powerful.
Wow. I'm definitely not going to be able to top that. I have two things to state. One is self-criticism.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been starting these two episodes off with the phrase after action. I've called them Kreeger casts, and I apologize, dear listeners.
Jesus.
And then secondly, I too would recommend it as a watch, and definitely after you watch the first film. I think this is the better of the two films.
I disagree on that point, but go ahead. I think this is the less focused than the first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I argue that that's good if you just sat down and watched the original film.
Fair enough.
If you were watching this, say, a week or a few days after watching the first film, yes, I would agree. But if you're literally, like, back-to-back watching them...
Like we did.
I like the scatterbrainness of this film. It makes it a much more enjoyable viewing experience because you can really riff off of it. It's not it's a so bad it's good film by any stretch.
No.
But it is the sort of film that, if you watch it with people, you'll have a good time. And the bouncing about facilitates that.
I suppose that's kind of true. I don't know. Because it's so scatterbrained, my ADD has trouble focusing on the movie at a certain point when I'm not following what the main story is. I didn't have that trouble in the first Christmas Prince. I was losing interest in Christmas Prince 2 at certain points when it was like, there's a whole subplot here, C plot, I guess. It's more of a C plot with the dad and the chef and all this, and I hate it. It was so boring, and it was just irritating. And I know it's a small-t Christmas movie, and this is what I should expect, but I can't stand the sentimentality of everyone finds someone at the end and gets to that. It rankles the cynic in me, and I don't like it. But that's me. That's not the film's fault.
And I'm going to come at this from the point of view of, I think this is the perfect formula for a Christmas film. There is an antagonist. There is drama and intrigue and stuff going on. But frankly, none of it matters to our two main characters.
Yeah.
Like, it is removed from them.
Well, it matters, but it's like a secondary thing. It's of secondary or even tertiary importance.
Indeed.
Which makes it weird.
Which I like, because I don't want to have to fret, are they really going to break up or something like that?
Right.
Like I was saying during the first film we watched, that drama of the lie being held over us, that sort of Damocles, there. I'm glad that this film did not have that. I mean, the worst that was going to happen is a bunch of people were going to strike. Continue striking.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second.
But my point is...
That was my favorite part of the movie.
My point is that it's a feel-good film that there's very little anxiety in. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for that, cuddle up on the couch, Coco, Christmas film, this is totally it.
Yeah, I just want to enjoy a nice Christmas film with some friends or family or a lover.
Yeah.
Or both, however you roll. Kansas. Yeah, family and lover. Same thing.
I know. Typically the joke is on Alabama's poor expense.
I mean, it doesn't matter. All of the people that live in that region of grossness. Whatever.
Wow. I love
care.
America's heartland.
I love all of America and all Americans. I'm just saying that some of them, they got some problems.
Well, we can agree on that.
And you know what probably has a similar problem like that? That was an unaddressed point. I think probably in the first one and this one, the entire royal family nobility of Aldovia. Because that's such a small gene pool. I think that the marrying commoners and all that jazz, that's more common than they wanted us to believe before. I suspect.
They actually didn't really make a big deal about her being a commoner.
They didn't, and that's probably why.
Snap.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting. So we're clearly in spoilers territory here.
Well, yeah. I mean, just watch the movie or don't, whatever. It's... If you're gonna watch the movie, you already know how it's gonna be because you've seen this movie 1,000 times before.
True, and I always want people to view these sort of recordings that we do as a conversation they're having with us, about the film. So
yeah, I'm not as pretentious, but whatever.
I expect people to have seen the film, and I want them to enjoy it with us. And I really do think that this is a film to see. I'm sorry. I'm really happy with this film.
I mean, I'm just doing it to annoy you. That's all.
I'm okay, so...
And then, of course, he breaks out the knife again.
we were watching Soviet films last week, and...
A Soviet film. There were not multiple Soviet films.
I may or may not have watched a couple more, because they were recommended to me.
Oh, okay. You watch more of those.
Yeah, we were
recommend.
We watched it on YouTube and they got recommended.
Well, we don't.
So my point is that I'm really glad to see this sort of happy-go-lucky, joyful film. I feel like I've seen 3 really great films in the last 2 days. That's
great. Great for you. I'm glad you enjoyed them that much. Really, I am. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes. Or as Judge Gino says on the show Personal Injury Court, let's get into the legal sauce. First thing I'm going to say is there is one major flaw in the start of this movie, in that it opens once again with stock footage of New York City.
Better stock footage this time.
Better, but it's the principle of it, not the quality of the stock film. The principle of it is wrong. Anyway,
Okay.
that's all I wanted to say about that. That was a little bit of a kick in the nuts. But that all aside, we get once again reintroduced to Amber. I mean, we all it pretty much rolls right in with her character, so it's not a thing.
It starts off with her dialogue.
Yeah, it's her talking about her blog stuff. We all know who Amber is. We don't need to worry about it. She does still set up just a little bit of that exposition, just in case, like you just flipped on A Christmas Prince 2 and weren't familiar, that she's been engaged for a year to the prince and going to get married on Christmas, and that whole blah, blah, blah. That's all great. But then we introduce what I think is the worst element of the entire movie, and that is her dad.
Oh, man.
So her dad... Now, the actor it's a different actor from Christmas Prince 1. As Patrick called him, wannabe Dean Stockwell?
Yes. He. If anyone who knows who Dean Stockwell is, this man, I was convinced for the first few minutes that he was on screen that it was like Dean Stockwell's like brother or cousin or something, because he looks similar and sounds similar. And so I just thought there was some sort of family relation. Oddly enough, there was a Stockwell who worked on the first film, but as like a costume assistant. So no relation. But anyway, discount Dean Stockwell.
Yeah.
He was great.
Mm-hmm. Now, so we get him, and he's awful, and all of the jokes they wrote for his character were terrible, and he delivers them awfully.
They were lighthearted and fun.
I hate it.
They were like Christmas cookies.
Anyway, now we're introduced that there has been a changeover in the royal, palace garage, whatever you want to call it. They are no longer sponsored by Mercedes. They are now sponsored by BMW.
Who apparently paid less than Mercedes because their vehicles were only prominently shown in like 2 scenes.
Presumably they paid less, yeah. But, whatever. They got the BMWs. That's very nice. The snow looked a little better. Mm-hmm. Looked a little better quality, even though it's still fake snow. And it was less obvious at times, like it was in the first one. I don't know about less obvious, but there were fewer close-ups, so it wasn't as obvious when they were breathing that it was not cold outside because their breath was not frosting. That's a whole other problem. Sorry, go on.
The cinematography in this version.
I thought it was worse, but
I thought it was so much better.
I mean, I'll say this, there is more variety than the first one.
They were so proud of their Steadicam. Being able to walk around the actors and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess.
They used that a lot. And they used it to dramatic effect a few times.
They used some Bayhem in there for sure. That like classic spin around with the...
Yeah.
Well, they didn't do the up angle, but still swoop around with a telephoto lens on the Steadicam. It's nice. Now, we get a lot of the side characters had much more prominent roles in this one, as we'll kind of get into. But there was also it was 2 major new characters. The first one we get introduced to is Sahil, the wedding planner, designer, whatever. Go on.
Who apes the joke from the first film of stealing her cab.
Yes.
Which is when I first realized that this film was going to be referenced the movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of reference in that. Sahil, no aspersions on the actor. The character is awful. He feels like he should be in Zoolander or like a Lily Singh character, which is to say bad.
He was very bad and very annoying. He mellowed out at the end.
Slightly. But only slightly.
A little bit.
Only slightly. Anyway, so we get the wedding planner, and this is where the first kind of central conflict starts getting introduced, that Amber has very little control over her wedding. I mean, I feel like she could have asserted control, but she never really did. And this is kind of what the main problem of her thing, and her facing all of those problems with protocol in society, and Mrs. Averill is kind of her primary antagonist throughout this movie.
True.
As she is, the continuingly to roll over her decisions or wants She has to like cancel her blog because it's a bad image for the royal family. She's got to wear this type of dress at the wedding and do this and blah 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 blah, etc. And she's feeling overwhelmed and not in control of her life, and Amber's having a hard time with that. And that's the first central conflict. And Sahil's kind of a part of that as the flamboyant wedding designer.
And you kept saying throughout the film, why doesn't she just push her power? Yeah, she's not the queen yet, but she's going to be, and very soon.
Yeah,
And
she never threatens like I'm going to start doing this or you're going to be fired when I'm queen. Doesn't say anything or anything. She's a very passive character, which I don't particularly like in that regard. It's just a personal peeve. I'm annoyed when people don't exert the power of their office.
And so was the king, frankly.
So was the king, and this is another problem. He's not standing up for his woman at all.
Yeah.
And that's just a bad move in general, king or not.
And it's funny because I'm sure they included that two reasons. One, to allow there to be continuing conflict between the two women, but as well as to have a little bit of conflict between Amber and the prince.
But what annoyed me about that is it feels like that's the kind of thing that, like,
it should not
have happened in their relationship. By the end of Christmas Prince 1, it was like it should be pretty clear he is comfortable in his skin, is asserting as the king and going into that, and he should not have a problem dealing with pushy advisors.
Yeah.
But they needed to make a second movie and have a little more conflict in there. So that's
and I kind of actually get one of the things. So the only time he really, the first time, I guess, he has the chance to stand up for his woman was she is being told she can't wear her mother's locket. It's a locket with a photo of her mother in it, but I don't know if it was actually owned by her mother. In exchange, she's supposed to wear this gaudy necklace that is apparently part of the crown jewels.
This looks terrible.
And it looks so bad. It looks so bad. But the point is that I can kind of get where the king was coming from. If that really is part of the crown jewels of the royal family,
you gotta wear it. Sure. I'll give that. But he also didn't do anything to help smooth over that process either.
Yeah.
That was the problem. There's a balancing act to have here between what she wants and what they want and what is expected. You can walk that line, but there was no attempt, and that annoyed me, especially because it felt so contrived. But then we get into the real, for me, what I think the real plot of this is, and it's kind of on the periphery at first, but it really comes up in the midpoint and a little more at the end. And that is the economic turbulence going on in Aldovia. And it is crazy. And at first there were things that didn't really make sense about it, but by the end it did. So Moldova is experiencing simultaneously they're hemorrhaging money in serious deficit, budgetary deficit, and are apparently having austerity problems where there's people out of work. They are not getting jobs, despite there being supposedly a massive influx of money in public works projects. I think they even say public works ministry. And there's people out of work. There's people protesting. There are signs like, whatever it was like out of work and down with Moldova. I don't remember what I'm saying. But it was you get the gist. Protest signs about the economic issues in Moldova. Aldovia.
I keep calling it Moldova too, and I don't know why.
Moldova is an actual place, so...
that's why.
Yeah. But Aldovia. And it's very fascinating, and it cuts into I wouldn't even call it a D plot, but there's a minor thing with the princess and kind of her story that gets cut into, this one interferes with it. But back onto that main subject, they bring in a ringer to help solve this problem. Lord Leopold, who was apparently an advisor to the old Richard I, King Dick I, who came in and who comes back from Monaco, they even say. He was in Monaco, apparently, to help straighten out the financial situations with the modernization initiative. He claims that the problem is that it's just going to take a while to adjust, or the economics to adjust, and they should steer the course. And apparently nobody in this damn kingdom knows anything about what's going on and just kind of accept that he knows what is going on. The only person who's curious about these financial issues is Amber. And as we later find out from a returning character, Simon, Count Simon, who tried to usurp the throne, is back and is a good guy. He is on the road to redemption.
He has a genuine care for the Aldovian people.
And to be fair, we had no hint that he didn't care about Aldovia in the first one.
That's true.
He just was ambitious.
No.
And apparently we find out in this movie he has an economics degree from Oxford.
Indeed.
Which, at one point, King Dick is like, he's just like slept through classes and blah, blah, blah. Didn't earn it. I'm like, he went to Oxford. That's not something you can do. If he went to Arizona State, all right, fair enough. He just, partied and got his degree. No, he went to Oxford and graduated with a degree in economics. Simon knows what's up. And by the way, I think he would have been a better king.
So actually, this is something I just had the thought while we were talking about this. Poor Simon. Now, I know he didn't know it because I know that he didn't know that Richard II was adopted. But technically, by the old laws, he should be king.
Yeah. Now,
And that's got a claw.
Yeah, I kind of see what you mean. Now, there's a little thing going on with the princess. She's trying to put on a play because she wants to kiss this boy. He's all cute and stuff.
Tom.
Yeah, Tom, that was the name. And so she's trying to do this play thing, and this is where it gets interfered with because they're trying to do it in the main auditorium. By the way, we actually finally see a town in this one. So there is an actual, a population to Aldovia, which is nice. So she's trying to put on a play, getting ready. They're doing a rehearsal. She's getting ready to kiss the boy, and the lights go out. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Says Amber, the bride to be, and them going on. Oh, there's a general strike. All of the workers in Aldovia are striking in protest. There is a full-blown general strike going on. That is kind of just passed over after that scene.
Yeah, they just retreat back to the royal residence, and
which does not have a general strike for some reason. It would actually be really interesting if they took it that far, and the royal family's trying to adjust to not having a staff because they're all on strike.
I was wondering about that too because my first thought was, what if the power company was striking? I didn't think the theater was striking. I thought it was the power company.
Yes, exactly. And that would have been really cool.
Yeah, because
I could imagine, the palace has backup generators or something. But
well, that meant that would be easier to explain. You could have them go through the hardship of not having power.
Sure.
But still have their staff so things kind of work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then they would be feeling it. But I guess they do kind of get it across because isn't the next scene when they start reading the Christmas letters?
Yes.
So
they're reading these Christmas letters, and there's some letters in there talking about the hardship in the town and stuff, and how they're out of work, and they're not. It's a bad scene. So this becomes a motive for Amber she wants to feel like she's taking control of her life again. So since she can't seem to get any ground from Miss Avril, she decides to use her journalistic skills and investigate. But she's got some help. She's got help from her two friends from the first movie, a sassy black girl and gay best friend, who have come from New York to help and are there for the wedding, and they're going to help her discover what's going on. And the first thing they do is they're going to go into town and talk to some residents, specifically one that wrote a Christmas card, and find out what's going on. And they get some first clues while they're there, and they run into Simon, who's trying to explain that he's a good guy now, and he's trying to help him, though they're all kind of rude.
Can we take a moment to note that her excellent note-taking ability makes a reoccurrence here?
Yes.
She literally writes just the term fishy ?
Yeah, she does at one point. Because there is... what was supposed to be happening with the Public Works project was that all of the money being spent by the government was supposed to go to Aldovian companies. Problem is that the one that it keeps going to, or one of them that it keeps going to anyway, is supposedly an Aldovian company, but there's no evidence that it exists. And this is where they first get into learn that this is a shell company. And they're like, ooh, what's this mysterious shell company? And then they have to run from some paparazzi, and there's more about the personal drama and blah, blah.
They get into the Trabi.
Yeah, whatever that car was. The dicky little car. I hope it was. I wish it was a Trabant.
It's
but
not
I
a
know it's
Trabant,
not.
but it might be a Yugo.
It would be awesome if it was a Yugo too. Doesn't even matter. It's just an old car. Whatever.
Wow.
Who cares?
Old cars have feelings too.
No, they don't. They're inanimate objects. So they have to go figure out what is happening with these companies, and they do more of this. Oh, also there's a scene of toboggan sledding, which has terrible green screen.
But only on the Queen.
No, it was on all of them.
Oh, the worst
It
one
was
was on the Queen.
it was the worst, but it was on all of them. It was on all of them for sure.
Okay.
Anyway, I just want to make a
killing
note
the
of that
movie
'cause
magic.
it was bad. No, it was bad. So, while they're out, also Simon has jungle fever. Just putting that out there. They discover all this, but then there's this really bizarre scene of a tonal shift where they're like, let's have a bachelorette party. And it's only like 30 seconds of like, oh, upbeat music and like, oh, we're having a good time. And then it's over. It was very strange. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe that was supposed to be a longer montage in a different cut.
So what the point that was trying to get across, I think, from a filmmaking perspective, was remember that the oh gosh, what is her name? I want to call her by her name.
Which one?
The princess.
Amber.
No,
Oh, the little
princess.
girl. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll just call her the princess. The princess is now elite hacksaw.
Yeah, she Mr. Robots that, which they make a reference to in the movie.
And so she says, I'm going to be working on coming up with the public records
Yeah.
of the company and try to figure out what's going on. And so
Yeah.
they leave her to her work.
Yes.
And then go do
And this is part of the weird. So they're supposed to get the records from the Department of Public Records because, as Simon points out, that any company doing this government work would have to, have paperwork. There'd be a paper trail. But they can't just go there and ask because apparently none of them know how to what the process is, and Amber doesn't want to tell King Dick that this is going on for some contrived reason that makes no sense.
Earlier in the film, she said she wouldn't talk to him until she had evidence.
Which it was a stupid thing to say and doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
Also, at this point, Simon makes a crack about throwing the record keeper in the dungeon.
Yes, true, he does.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing indeed. So then they go and investigate more, and they hack into the thing and blah, 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 and they find out what everyone could have already figured out by now, that the shell companies are directing to basically the personal bank account of Lord... I already forgot his name. Lord what? I wrote it down somewhere.
It starts with an L, doesn't it?
Lord Leopold, that's it. Yeah. Lord Leopold. He is robbing the country blind on this modernization
And not spending
initiative.
a cent of it.
Apparently not. Now, I would have thought there would have been a tip-off earlier when there was no work being done on these public works projects, but apparently he's, one, not clever enough to hide in any kind of embezzlement going on, and two, no one in this royal family knows what is going on in their own country.
Yeah,
No
and they didn't even seem to care,
clue.
really.
I mean, they talked about caring, but they were not proactive about it at all. In fact, they were being actively dissuading people from looking into it. I don't know why. What? I just don't get why oh yeah, I want to look into this. Oh no, don't. Why? Why not just be okay, if you find something, let me know.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
Protocol.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure that's what it was. Protocol. The key word of all the... gosh, it was wild. Anyway. They figure this all out. King Leopold... I said King Leopold. No. Lord Leopold is arrested thanks to being Amber threatening him with a bow and arrow.
Which is yet another callback.
Yes. Callback. And then they show the proof that they have that he's been embezzling the money to the Queen Dowager, and she orders him taken to the dungeon, to which Princess is like, we have a dungeon? And she's like, oh yeah, it's in the deepest, darkest parts of the castle. And
So that implies that this joke about ending up in the dungeon that has been this reoccurring joke throughout the series is a real threat.
as a real threat. And I'm pretty sure Lord Leopold was executed after his stay in the dungeon. They don't say that, But considering the damage he did, he almost upturned the entire monarchy. There was nearly a communist revolution on their hands, or at least a syndicalist one, I hope. That would have been amazing. I would have been so hard.
And so the interesting part about this whole thing is that this implies that not only is it an absolute monarchy, but it's an absolute monarchy that has no courts.
There is no courts, there is no parliament, there is no actual way for the people to appeal in any way except Christmas cards. I think that's the only methodology is Christmas cards.
Well, it worked.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it worked in this case, but what does that mean 11 months out of the year? What are they supposed to do? If there's, oh man, there's this whole problem, poverty in this area is a whole problem, or we got economic troubles, we got problems with, I don't know, crime. What if there's a plague?
There's an obvious answer.
What's that?
And this obvious answer is something that if the creators of The Christmas Prince are listening to this podcast, should take to heart. Additional holidays.
What if they just have 12 Christmases a year?
No. I understand.
No, I know what you mean, but there'd be more holidays. But what other holidays would they celebrate?
They could celebrate St. Valentine's Day.
No, they clearly don't.
They could.
But they don't, and they're not going to.
We only see them
What
2 weeks
part was Valentine's Day a thing in Rhodesia? I suspect not, and why would they transport it? Maybe they'll have an Independence Day.
Celebrate November 11th.
Yeah, maybe. Which is conveniently Aldovian Independence Day.
It is actually funny that the green and white show up again in this film.
They do wave the flags around.
But go back to our previous podcast to see how Aldovia is really Rhodesia too.
Yeah, we go into the deep lore of Christmas Prince in Rhodesia.
But anyway, I do say that they swayed away a bit from that in this. I kept expecting to see Rhodesian references, and then there weren't any.
Well, you just wanted to see them.
Yeah, I wanted to see, I don't know, something going on.
They did not lean into it, for sure. But, maybe they would do in the third one. We don't know.
We do not know yet.
So, that's all resolved, and then they finally have the wedding ceremony. And they updated the crowns for this one. The crowns props look much better than the first one. And through all these interactions, every major character or even side character ends up with someone at the end. The dad ends up with the chef at the palace, who's this woman with an awful Russian accent. Even the Queen Dowager is like Schmidt with one of the servants. Obviously, Amber and King Dick are married. She's now Queen Amber.
It has a really happy ending.
I know it does.
Even your least favorite character got a happy ending.
And I hate that. And then the Sahil and the gay best friend are like eyeing each other pretty good. And then Simon is, like I said, Jungle Fever with the sassy black friend. And he's like, oh yeah, they're grooving. And then they do a conga line while the new queen and the king kiss in the snow outside. And it's very sweet. And then it goes to credits, where we get several fun outtake scenes.
They were not fun.
It was no Rush Hour, I'll tell you that.
It was meant to be fun, but it wasn't.
Not really. But, I mean, it was just kind of a weird thing to put in their movie. But, it was all right.
So that is a basic overview of The Christmas Prince.
Yeah.
2, Royal Wedding.
Gotta get the full title.
Question
Yes.
for you. Since the Royal Baby is coming up next,
Yes.
what will be the next one?
After that,
Yeah.
I was really hoping for the Royal Coup. Or possibly the Anti-Royal Revolution. Or like some kind of murder mystery. I don't know what that one would be called yet.
They could
Murder in the Palace.
They could switch holidays.
They're never going to, though. It's always going to be a Christmas Prince. That's the brand.
A Christmas Prince does...
I guess now it's going to be a Christmas King.
But it should have been Christmas King this time.
I guess you're right. It should have been. So it's still going to be called a... Well... That's hinting at the baby's gender. I see through you, Netflix. The baby is the Christmas Prince in the third one. Oh my God, I so hope I'm right. Oh, if I'm right, feels so good.
Well, I gotta get this... Oh, I can't get this out before the 5th.
Who cares? Well,
Yeah.
just note, we're recording this on December 1st, so it doesn't come out till the 5th. So if I'm right, I am a prophet of the Lord.
So are
Allah.
we are certain that the this particular film is the Princess Prince 2, the Royal Baby, or is it
No. It's Christmas Prince 3, The Royal Baby.
Christmas Prince 2, the Royal Wedding?
I don't think there's even a 2 in it.
Is it
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
There's no 2.
But it is the Christmas Prince.
A Christmas Prince.
A Christmas Prince. Was there even a prince in this film?
Yeah, it's just called A Christmas Prince, The Royal Baby. Is Simon technically a prince?
No.
Oh, I guess he was probably disinherited.
Simon was like a duke.
He was a count, actually. It's
Count.
Count Simon.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not a Grand Duke, so he's not next in the line. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what is in store for Christmas Prince 4.
I don't know where they take the story.
I don't know either. Oh my gosh, you know what they could also do in 3 though? It's called it's a Christmas Prince, like Royal Baby, right? But at the end in the end credits, when it turns out she gives birth to a girl and it changes to a Christmas Princess, the Royal Baby. That would be cute. That would be super cute too. I'd be okay Netflix if you did that.
Okay, which means that the next one will be some sort of debate over the line of succession.
Yes.
So that does.
Well, that could be the coup then.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the royal succession.
And then it would like.
Oh, this could go on forever. I'd love a new Christmas Prince movie every year. I'm serious.
They're really good.
Or Christmas could have like the royal succession, and then what would it be after? Like, I don't know how far you go. I mean, if I thought about it for more than 30 seconds, I could probably come up with a lot of good stories.
To do prequels.
I don't like that route though.
I mean, I agree with you, but I'm kind of interested in their history.
Like, is there going to be like the royal retreat, which just shows all these ex-Rhodesian SAS officers like going through the death tunnel to get to Heldovia and taking it over?
I do love that we brought up Death Tunnel finally.
I knew I had to come up at some point. If I didn't do it, you would have done it.
I was working on it.
Yeah, you and your fucking Death Tunnel.
Hey, speaking of which, we should wrap this up and then do a review of Death Tunnel someday.
We can do a review someday, but I'm not going to like it. But let's wrap this up, sure. Final thoughts on A Christmas Prince 2, Patrick?
Legitimately the best Christmas film I've seen this year. So it does top Christmas Prince 1. I really think this was a hoot and a half, and I really think you should watch it, dear audience member.
I'm gonna say my third favorite Christmas movie this year, because I think Christmas Prince 1 was better, but I also watched Die Hard about a week ago, and that's still the greatest Christmas movie ever made. So but you know what? The Lighthouse is a fun and light Christmas movie for everybody. Go see The Lighthouse, people.
And go see Ford versus Ferrari.
Fine. It might be good. I don't know.
If you like sports movies or cars or biopics,
Sure.
flicks.
Biopics.
If you like any three of those or any one of those three, you'll truly enjoy Ford versus Ferrari. But I do actually want to ask you a question about this film.
Sure.
Would this be as good as if you sat down and watched it alone?
No.
See, and that's the thing, is as I was sitting here saying that this was the best Christmas film I've seen this year, I could sit down and watch The Christmas Prince alone and think that was an okay film.
I agree.
I don't think I could watch this film alone and think it was good.
I'm with you 100%.
The scatterbrainness does fail it.
Mm-hmm. I would say that I'm not going to go as far as to say good film, but they're competent films for what they're trying to achieve, which is a very Hallmarky feel and kind of style and those kind of feelings. And I mean, it succeeds. It gets the same kind of feelings in me that Hallmark does, which are mostly negative, but that's because of me, not because of the films.
Well, that's a really enlightened view. Until next time, dear listener, see you
King Day.
out there.